Again, thank you. What a precious opportunity it has been to be here together this week and to have our hearts encouraged in the things of the Lord. I'm telling you, it's not just a matter of preachers encouraging folks sitting in the congregation. It's folks in the congregation encouraging preachers. I appreciate this opportunity so very much. We're going to go in our Bibles to Lamentations chapter 3. Very quickly, let me mention 4 of the small books I have out on the table. 1 John 5:7 is the most attacked verse in the Bible. People try to claim it doesn't belong there. I can show you why it does in this little book. Many infallible proofs is the one thing on the table that would be specifically designed to be presented to a lost person. And it's the overwhelming evidence concerning Christ and the resurrection of Christ. Da Vinci Code controversy. A lot of folks aren't aware that the Da Vinci Code movies and film and books have a very specific religious message to them. And 2 of the 3 Da Vinci Code books are the 2 best-selling fiction books in the history of the United States. And the 3rd one kind of bombed. There have been 3 movies, and they all bombed, unfortunately. But there was a concept behind the Da Vinci Code to completely change the way we approach religion, with that as a solution to all of man's problems. I addressed the first 2 books and first 2 movies in there. Then biblical English. A lot of folks completely misunderstand. It's something that Brother Vance has written about a great deal. A lot of folks completely misunderstand why you have unusual words in the King James Bible. They're the accurate translation of the Greek and Hebrew words that God gave. Many of those words were archaic in 1611, but they're accurate. And the whole issue, the translation of the King James Bible is accuracy. And we addressed that. I actually think I mentioned his book in there. I want you to go to Lamentations chapter 3, sort of background to this message. I spent 10 years living here in Central Florida, over in Haines City. Did a lot of traveling and preaching around a lot of churches in those days. I was in the Orlando area a lot. Seemed to be an awful lot of churches in Orlando. This particular night I'm thinking of, I was in Orlando. I wouldn't know how to get around. I wouldn't know how to find the church I was at from here, but I was in the Orlando area. I know that. And I'm sitting reading my Bible. I'm going somewhere to preach on Wednesday night. I'm taking the college ladies trio, piano player and 3 singers, and they're going to do music that night. I'm going to preach. I have a little bit of time before I need to leave and go to college and pick them up. And I'm reading my Bible. I'm reading Lamentations chapter 3. I hit verse 21. It kind of jumps out at me. This I recall to my mind. Therefore have I hope. Sounds pretty good. When you think of something, say, when I think of this, it fills me with hope. I don't know about you, but every now and then, I need to be filled with hope. That's right. Every now and then, I need a little bit more than what I got when I started the day. And it was time to leave, and I got thinking, boy, what is it that when you recall it, it fills you with hope? And I didn't have time to spend any more time on it then. Drove, got the college band, got the young ladies, went to the church. And they had been asked to sing for an hour. And so I had some time. I'm sitting on the front row. And I thought, well, while they're singing, I want to get an idea on this. What is it that when I recall it to my mind, it'll bring me home? Now, this book's written, God gave it to Jeremiah when he's there in Jerusalem and the Babylonians are ripping the city to pieces. It's beyond the challenges that you and I have done. But we know some challenges too, and I want to apply it to our challenges. And I was sitting there and said, well, rule of context. Everything in the Bible is explained by what came right before it or what came right after it. So that the answer to this question, what is it that fills me with hope, is either in the verses before verse 21 or the verses after verse 21. So I had some time, so I said, I'm going to go through this chapter and see if I can figure out how this works. So all ready? I'll take you with me through it. But by the way, after I got this, I threw away the message I had planned, and I was preaching on Lamentations chapter 3 that night. I preach it every so often since then to be an encouragement to me and hope somebody else gets in on it too. Let's see. What fills us with hope? Let's try verse 1. I am the man that hath seen affliction, by the rod of his wrath. That's a blessing, isn't it? I mean, sometimes God chastens me. I know that. I don't like to think about it. I don't like to remember it. But we like to remember the real positive, encouraging times. I've preached several sermons on prayer that are just basically laying down a couple of principles, telling story after story after story of answered prayer. And I thought one time, just to get the whole message out, I'd preach a sermon on prayers that God didn't answer the way I wanted them answered, and I outlined it all, and I had all the illustrations, and I threw it away because I didn't want to think about it long enough to preach it. Well, let's try verse 2, see if that helps me. He hath led me and brought me into darkness, but not into light. That verse of blessing, isn't it? Sometimes I can't tell where God's taking me or how he's leading me or what he's doing. I can't see what's going on. I know that's true, but that doesn't fill me with hope. How about verse 3? Surely against me is he turned. He turneth his hand against me all the day. Sometimes God works against us. That's a blessing, isn't it? We're trying to get something done, and God's trying to keep us from getting it done. I understand there's this picture of God being floated, especially with a lot of TV preachers today, that he's just one big giant teddy bear type Santa Claus sitting in the sky that just does whatever we want him to do. But number one, you never got that from the Bible. And number two, you never got that from real life. How about verse 4? My flesh and my skin hath he made old. He hath broken my bones. How's that for a blessing? You all ready? Some of you young people, this will not register what I'm about to say. You can sleep to the next point if you want to. But some of the rest of you will get it. All that happens is we get older. We just get older and older and older. I've been in the Philippines for 20 years. I first started going to the Philippines, people worried about me in the schedule I kept. I'd teach 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon, and preach at night. I did that day after day after day, 3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks. And folks were worried about me all the time. I get younger every year. I just love keeping that kind of schedule. It's great. But where I taught in the morning, you had to walk up 5 stories. The college I was in was the 5th story of a building. So they were always worried about me going up, all those stairs. So they'd have a couple of young men at the bottom of the stairs waiting for me every morning when I got there. And one of them would take my briefcase, and the other would just kind of walk with me to try to help me if I needed it and all that. And I got a little offended by the thing. And so I was over at Landmark Baptist College, and they got the 10-story building. So for about 30 days before I would go to the Philippines, I would walk up the 10 stories every day. I get myself in gear for it. Some of the early years I even got where I'd run up the 10 stories and I was just ready, and I'd walk up and those 2 college students would be there ready to help me, and instead of letting them take my briefcase, I'd grab their briefcases and run up the stairs. Let them follow me. I did that for years. I honestly got legendary for that. You want to know what I do now? When I get there and the 2 young men are there waiting at the bottom of the stairs to help, I hand them my briefcase and I say, if you'll be patient, I'll be right behind you. You get older. And there are physical challenges to getting older. And you try to find ways to deal with them, and you try to find ways to get around them. And I understand that. I know that. But I got to tell you, the thought of just getting older, that's not what fills me with hope. So let's see if we can find it in the next verse. He hath builded against me and compassed me with gall and travail. I found this in the ministry at times, trying to get something done for the Lord, and God just puts extra things in the way. I've discovered God is not in the same hurry that I'm in. I know that. I've been at it long enough. I've been at it long enough to say to a lot of preachers, just calm down, relax, you keep serving the Lord faithfully, He'll take care of all the results. I said it to a preacher today. Doesn't change the fact that I need people to say it to me. How about verse 6? He hath set me in dark places as they that be dead of old. Well, that's a blessed picture. Kind of the idea, this scene's been in a lot of work pictures. Somebody wakes up and they're in a coffin buried. There's nothing they can do. There's no way. They're like the dead of old, and they're frustrated and scared and frightened and couldn't possibly feel more hopeless. And you see a scene like that in a movie or TV, something, you think, what in the world would I do if that happened to me? I'm not blessed yet. How about you? Verse 7, he hath hedged me about that I cannot get out. He hath made my chain heavy. And I'm trying to get somewhere, and I got this ball and chain that's just holding me back. I'm not. But how about verse 8? Also when I cry and shout, he shutteth out my prayer. How's that for a blessing? You ever feel like you were praying about something? You were begging and pleading God, and God was not listening? Your prayers weren't going any higher than the roof. That God wasn't going to answer? How's that for a blessing? Let's try verse 9. He hath enclosed my ways with hewn stone. He hath made my paths crooked. I'm trying to get somewhere, and the Lord's making it harder to get there. How about verse 10 and 11? He was unto me as a bear lying in wait, and as a lion in secret places. He hath turned aside my ways and pulled me in pieces. He hath made me desolate. Sometimes feel like he's tearing me apart like a wild animal. My wife and I used to go on vacation every year at a retreat, Christian retreat in North Carolina, that was right next to the National Bear Reserve. And there were signs that would tell you, this is where the bear reserve starts. Stay out. The trouble was, they could never get those bears to pay attention to those signs. One part to work with me, I did not want to go where the bears were. And they used to tell us, don't go out in the woods by yourself. Said if you got several people together, the bears will hear the noise, and they don't want to be around you, and they'll stay away. They said you don't want to go out by yourself because you might come on one by surprise. Well, we went there for vacation every year, and there was a number of us, so that wasn't a problem. But one year I was speaking at a Christian retreat at that camp, and I was pondering some things. I just went out for an early morning walk, wanted to think and pray. I often pray best when I'm walking, and I walked around this curve on the path, and right there was a black bear staring at me. I wasn't expecting to find him there, and he wasn't expecting to find me there. Easygoing person that I am, I don't have a greasy bone in my body. I was going to give that entire path to him. And I remember, knew enough about this, don't make any sudden motions, or do anything to set them off. And so I'm smiling, happy, because they say they could read fear. And then I'm just kind of moving like this. Seemed like it took forever. But I finally get around that curve where he can't see me anymore, and I turned and ran for everything I had. Because this much I know. I don't have a problem with a lion or a bear. I'm just not interested in that. And yet sometimes it doesn't seem like life is going the way you want it to. The old Puritan preachers used to write volumes about this. They called it the dark night of the soul. When it looks like God's turned his back on you, it looks like life is not going the way you want it to, it looks like your life is just full of problems. He hath turned aside my ways and pulled me in pieces and made me desolate. He hath bent his bow and set me as a mark for the arrow. He hath caused the arrows of his quiver to enter into my reins. Sometimes you feel like God's used you for target practice. I grew up working at this camp. I've mentioned it a couple times this week already. I spent 9 summers there. And I started as a junior counselor, assistant director. I did just about everything there was. But at this time I'm telling you about, I was assistant director. And one of the things, we had a 311-acre camp out in Central Hardwood Forest, a beautiful area. We do all kinds of things. And you go out of the main camp area, we had a part set aside as an archery range. And it was set up according to American Archery Association standards. I mean, we had the targets, we had the bales of hay behind them, we had the distances just according to the way everything was supposed to be. And we would have a few counselors every year that would get sent for special training. And they teach the kids archery. And if you achieve certain things, you could win awards. And they were from the American Archery Association. It was really a well-organized, big deal. And I was giving his family a tour one day. I'm bragging. I took them to the archery range. I'm bragging about American Archery Association standards. I'm bragging about our trained counselors, how great our program is. And I get them there, and right down this way, you can see, go on farther down are the targets. Closer to where we were the kids, and they're showing the kids the bows and the arrows and what you're supposed to do. I'm bragging about how well trained our counselors are. And as I'm standing there bragging about it, an arrow comes by and sticks in the tree, which is not what's supposed to happen when the targets are that direction. We have a chat about that later. The only time in my life an arrow ever came by near me, well, once wasn't enough. I'm not interested in being shot at with arrows. I understand there were folks once upon a time had to endure that a lot, but I just take that for granted that that just doesn't have to happen in my life. Sometimes you feel like target practice. How about verse 4? Are you all encouraged yet? Well, if we stop right now, is everybody going home? Okay. Well, we're not stopping right now, so just hang on. I was a derision to all my people in their song all the day. He said people were making fun of him. They were looking at him. They were laughing at him. They didn't respect him. Pastor, years ago, there's a preacher, he scheduled me to preach a meeting in his church. He scheduled me 2 years ahead of time. They gave me a specific topic, Baptist Heritage Conference, and what message he wanted Sunday morning, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. He gave it all to me 2 years ahead of time. I wrote it on a calendar that I was going to be at that church those days. And I went there those days and totally forgot what I was supposed to be preaching on. He, meanwhile, had printed up flyers, taken out radio ads, done everything you could. And I mean, it was right there, Sunday morning this, Sunday night this. And I forgot completely. Went in preach a revival meeting. He didn't tell me, but I knew something was wrong. I mean, from the first service on, something wasn't right. And he waited to tell me until the whole week was over. And I mean, it just wasn't right. And this will come as a shock to you. I've never been asked to preach another meeting in that church. In fact, I preached in meetings where there were preachers' meetings, and a bunch of preachers would be there, and he'd be there. Other types of meetings, there were people from the church there. And I'm never comfortable looking out, seeing them in the pew, because I know what the first thing they think of when they see me is. That's not one of the blessed moments of my ministry. I give you a whole lot of reasons why I'm glad I'm in the ministry, but that week's not one of them. And running into those folks, I mean, if I was running into you folks somewhere, I run into Brother Farnes, that was good to see. Running into them is not a blessing. How about he hath filled me with bitterness, verse 15. He hath made me drunken with wormwood. How about the image of verse 16? He hath also broken my teeth with gravel stones. Boy, doesn't that make you feel good, just the thought of it? A broken tooth, chewing on gravel. Wouldn't that be a blessing? You don't have to think much about dental work, but before you're not very encouraged. But chewing on gravel with a broken tooth, that's just an image you can't get over. Verse 17, thou hast removed my soul far off from peace. I forgot prosperity. I said, my strength and my hope is perished from the Lord. Remembering my affliction of my misery, the wormwood and the gall, the soul that hath them still in remembrance, and is humbled in me. And then verse 21, this I recall to my mind, therefore have I hope. And so I come to the conclusion, I said either have to be the verses before or the verses afterwards that fill you with hope. I had come to the conclusion it was not in the verses before. So let's try the verses after. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed.
Amen.
because his compassions fail not. What a problem. What a problem the world has. What a promise we have. That the Lord's compassions do not fail us. He continues to love us. He continues to provide for us. The very things that we said to ourselves, I could never go through that. I'd never survive if that happened to me. Turns out it happened, and by the grace of God, we did survive. His mercies never fail us. His compassions never fail us. I can go into the challenges of every day, no matter how difficult, with the assurance that God loves me, and God's love is going to be seen in the circumstances and character and situation of my life. How about that to fill you with hope? And then you grab the next verse. They are new every. Remember we talked about this? The little words are the biggest in the Bible. Every is a big word. They are new every morning. If the scripture said they're new some mornings. I don't know how much of an overwhelming blessing that would be. But how about this for a promise? They're new every morning. They never fail. God is there to meet our needs, to work in our lives, to show his compassions. We get new compassions every morning. Amen. I don't have enough to see me through. I don't have enough strength to see me through the struggle. I don't have enough strength to see me through the challenge of Christian life. I don't have the strength to see me through the challenge of being a pastor. I don't have, but you got new help coming tomorrow. You always know you got new help coming tomorrow. It's an incredible thing. In my early years of my wife and I's marriage, and we'd not been married that long at all, and we were staying in a Christian camp, and we were going to make a trip and go over to Ohio. We were in Indiana and do some preaching, and we had not stocked up on groceries or anything, and we got hit with one of those famous blizzards that people talk about. Blizzard of 77, people in the Midwest. I have to explain this to you, Florida folks. Lots of snow and wind and ice and cold, and it all comes down and it makes it impossible for you to go where you want and do what you please. We hit a point. The roads were all closed. You could not get out. I didn't make any trip anywhere. I mean, piles of snow. Ice, cold, wind chill hit 60 below zero. We didn't have much food. We literally had eaten all the food available and had nothing and no prospects to get anywhere. And I just felt like the worst husband in the history of the planet. I made up my mind I was going to get into town and buy food no matter what happened, and I had to dig my way from the house to the road and get the car to the road, and I finally got to the car to the road, and I was prepared for the coldest weather. I had two of everything. Had blue jeans on and sweatpants on over blue jeans. Shirt and sweater over the shirt. I had rubber gloves and winter gloves on over. I mean, I was as ready as you could get for bitter cold, because it's bitter cold, that one anything to fool with. On the very road we lived, there was a lady who froze to death. And I got out, got stuck in the snow, but I maneuvered. I had my shovel and all that. I maneuvered and got going again. Got stuck again and maneuvered and got going again. I got stuck again and maneuvered and got going again. And then I came to this little dip in the road, and there were already 3 abandoned cars stuck there because the way the snow had piled. There wasn't any way I was going to be able to dig through that. I can't even get in the little dip in the road because it's full of cars, and I'm there. And I tried to turn the car around. It was absolutely impossible with all the snow that was there. Man, you want to talk about being down? I was as far down as you could get. Getting ready to walk back to the house. And no matter how prepared you are for it, 60 below zero is cold. It's in front of a farmhouse. lady came out on the porch of the farmhouse and motioned me in. She said, "You want to come in? You warm up for a minute?" I said, "Sure." She said, "What in the world are you doing out for this?" And I told her the situation. She said, "Well," she said, "you know, this is a chicken farm. Not just they raise chickens. They butchered them, they processed them, they packaged them with various fixings and sold them to all the grocery stores in town." And she took me into a room they had as a warehouse. She said, "If there's anything here you'd like to buy, you're welcome to it." And I came walking home. Cindy's first question was, "Where's the car?" I said, "Don't worry about that now." I came walking home. Chicken and fixings every way you could think of it. We lived on that for several days and tickled to have it. We weren't worried about the variety. By the way, you know how many times in the more than 40 years we've been married since then? When there was a moment we did not know how things were going to be taken care of, that one of us would wonder first, "I wonder where the chickens are coming from this summer." God, mercy, and compassion was new for us that morning. And I got to thinking about this as I got ready to preach it that night. Wait a minute. It is the verses before verse 21. It's knowing all the things that I have gone through. And God was with me in every one of those cases. And got me through. And He's already done that. Even when I didn't know how it could happen. I didn't know how it would be. I didn't know what was going to take place. But I was able to count every day that His mercies would be new that morning. Many times I couldn't count on, I didn't have His mercies already for the week, for the year. I look at all the things that God has done for us. It's been amazing how God has blessed us. And it's remembering that it's not the good, easy days that fill me with hope. It's the rough days we've been through. And to see how God blessed and how God worked and what God did. Would you look with me the next verse? And this is a point, and if we would get it, we'd have revival. The Lord is my portion, saith my soul. Therefore will I hope in Him. Yeah, let's chat with you about this for a minute. It's been on my mind a lot in recent weeks. I mentioned already, it wasn't that many years ago that Independent Baptists were the fastest growing religious movement in the United States. Major secular magazines wrote articles about us and talked about how we were growing, the churches that were being started, and the big crowds, and the colleges, and all that thing. Now, that hasn't been true so much lately. And all over the Independent Baptist movement, there are folks trying to figure out what can we copy from who in order to get it. Since other groups are doing more growing now than we are, what can we copy from these folks to get in on this? Can I tell you something? I just happen to be the right age to have watched this. Well, I was beginning as a preacher during the boom years, 70s, 80s. We didn't get to be the fastest growing religious movement in the United States because we found somebody to copy. Right. In fact, everybody else copied us. We didn't invent Sunday school, but it wasn't common until we made it common. We didn't invent the Wednesday night prayer meeting, but it wasn't common until we made it common. I go on and on with the things that we did that everybody else began to copy. The bus ministry, man, that was a Baptist thing. We didn't get where we got by copying things. We made other people copy us. So what happened and how did we get it? I tell you this. There was a sense of focus and emotion and excitement in serving the Lord, and I will tell you, number one, excitement builds a crowd. Excitement builds a crowd when it's excitement about bad things. We weren't excited about bad things. We're excited about the Lord Jesus. And trying to reach people for Him. And I will admit, in our movement, we did the craziest things sometimes to reach people. Sometimes we did the most bizarre things. Sometimes we didn't have real good sense about some of the things we did. But we wanted to reach people for the Lord Jesus so bad that God blessed it. What we did became the standard for everybody else. And it isn't finding who to copy that will ever get that back for us. Somebody said, I get it. The Lord is my portion. This is about the Lord. This is about having the right relationship with Him. This is about being focused on Him. This is about being centered on Him. This is about understanding the role that He plays in our life. Turns out God let us have all the difficult times that we've had for the reason of letting us learn what it was we needed to learn and what it was we needed to do. And when we remember what the Lord has done in the past, it fills our heart with hope. Because we know that in the future, His mercies are still going to be new every morning, just like they were in the past. And we know that if we would be focused on Him and our spiritual life would be centered in Him, not this program or that program or the other program. I'm not against programs and activity. Man, I'm a bus kid. I'm sure not against the folks that came up with the bus ministry and promoted it and all that kind of thing. And that's how I got reached for Christ. There was nothing in my life to explain the gospel to me before the first bus worker came to my door. My dad was a professed atheist. My mom was a hyper-Calvinist. She didn't believe in witnessing to people. She'd been married to my dad for years, never witnessed to him once. Never prayed for him to get saved. She believed the folks who were going to get saved were going to get saved, and those who weren't going to get saved weren't going to get saved. And consequently, you just insulted God if you prayed for him. She quit going to church. I mean, she might go once or twice a year on occasion with family members, but didn't take me. There was nothing. I was in a public school in a rough neighborhood. Where was I ever going to hear about the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ? The first time anybody, not knowing who I was, approached me about the gospel, I was 51, standing outside of a 7-Eleven in Resaca, Georgia, there at a Bible conference, and a lady came up and gave me a God Simple Plan of Salvation tract. Without that bus worker, that's the first chance I would ever have had. I wonder what my heart would have been like 51 years without anything spiritual. Who knows? Maybe I'd have responded to it. But that would have been the next chance I would have had. But a bus worker came and knocked on my door. By the way, I've told that story often in explaining things. I was in a church in Alabama preaching for a brother. In fact, just communicated with him today and preaching for him. He pastors in Leesburg, Florida now. But I was in church, and he's in Alabama then. And he came up and started a revival meeting. He gave me a picture of the lady, that bus worker that reached me. I said, where did you get this? How did you know? Turned out she had reached him the same way, knocking on doors. And he heard me tell the story and mentioned her name, and he knew it. And so when I came back to preach for him the next year, he had a picture of her. He had a copy of it made for me. It's in my office. I'm not against programs. I'm not against looking for methods. But I'm telling you this, it wasn't our programs that built the most dynamic religious movement in the United States in the 70s and 80s. It was our heart to reach people for God. Maybe all those programs don't work anymore. Maybe they need to be replaced with other programs. But I'm going to tell you that's not the big story or the big issue. The big issue today is we don't have the same fire to reach people for the Lord Jesus common in our churches that used to be there. And if we get that fire back, you get it. The Lord is my portion. If we get past thinking about the program and thinking about the activities and thinking about the plan and get our hearts centered in the Lord, we have every good reason to have our heart centered in the Lord, because His mercies are sufficient for us yesterday. They're sufficient for us today. They'll be sufficient for us tomorrow. That ought to affect your understanding of salvation. I did not get saved as a 10-year-old boy because I deserved it. I got saved because of the grace and mercy of God. I have not stayed saved all these years because I deserved it. I have stayed saved all these years because of the grace and mercy of God. I do not have the slightest doubt that heaven is my home. Not because I deserve it, but because of the grace and mercy of God. God's mercy for salvation will be new for me tomorrow like it was today. God continues to give me a measure of opportunity to serve Him. Not because I deserve it, because His mercy is new to me every morning. It gives me that privilege and that blessing and that opportunity. And God takes care of me with whatever it is I need. I mean, read Philippians 4 promises that the Lord will give us all things that we need. All things. It's another one of those big words again. But by the way, sometimes we need chastening. That promise covers that too.
Right.
I like to think about the part where He does all these things for us. And it covers that, but it also covers when we need chastening. It also covers when we need to learn something the hard way. Sometimes we learn things the hard way because we're stubborn and we just won't pay attention to the Word of God, and He has to get our attention. Some things you can't learn other than the hard way. And so He sends it to us. He gives us everything we need. It's absolutely, utterly incredible how the Lord blesses from day to day. And because of that, our life should be centered in Him. And if our life would be centered in Him, we'll be full of excitement and purpose and desire to serve God. The Lord is my portion. When you can say the Lord is my portion, all the rest of them fall into place. Pastor.